hold up. Is my mic? Okay, my mic is working. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for qualifying to set the starting lineup and also to figure out the 6 drivers that will be making up the 42 car field for tonight's Quaker-State 400, our 17th race in the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. And after tonight, there'll be 4 races left, 4 points paying races left until we crown a champion. This is the only part of this. Honestly, I feel like these races right here, Minnesota was definitely pretty exciting. For those that missed it last week, Kyle Craven won a thrilling race at the Minnesota Motorsports Park. We only had 1 caution, surprisingly, but the racing aspect, the racing product that we got at Minnesota was absolutely immaculate, and I cannot wait until we get back to Minnesota. Of course, you see first car out on the racetrack. That is the number 3 of Bobby McGuire. 30.657 for him to kick things off. Teammate Janiah Hill, 30.595. So far, things are looking pretty stout, to say the least. 50 minutes obviously are on the clock for these drivers, and we only have about 2.5 minutes that have already gone by. Just about 2.5 minutes. But nonetheless, I mean, obviously early in the session, we're going to see a lot of cars kind of just doing single car runs, but it'll be a little bit before we get a couple packs going here. One may form right here with Jordan Sumner, Joshua Cornish. Specifically between those two, you got Michael DeFeo up here in the number 60. Just rocketing around the outside of the 20 and the 89. Obviously, he's got a lot more speed built up. And he's on top, well, was on top with a 29.991. Now it's Shania Hill with a 947 to her name, drafting with Ray Atikian in the 45. Martin Nixon now to the top with a 29.908. And that's actually kind of interesting is that Nixon is actually currently by himself, just barely catching a whiff of the draft off of the 26 of Josiah Munsell. And now we have Bobby McGuire coming on down pit road. Looks like he's going to take a little break before he gets back out there. Currently sitting 8th on the charts with a 30.069. He kicked off the session with the fastest lap for a brief moment, but now currently in the 8th position, now 9th as Joshua Cornish jumps up to the top of the charts with a 29.328. So you kind of just had a feeling that these 3 would wound up finding each other and of course sticking with one another. Obviously Cornish is the benefactor of that one. He's on top of the board. Jordan Sumner currently fifth on the standings. Now 3rd with a 29.456, and Michael DeFeo. Well, he did hold on to the outside. Well, he did hold on to the bubble spot, but now he's on the outside looking in with a 29.605. Martin Nixon dethrones him there, thanks to a little bit of help from Josiah Munsell here in this number 26. Our Daytona 500 champion from this year, well, from 2020 actually. He finds himself in the 9th spot for 29.876 for him. Jordan Sumner up to 2nd on the board with a 29.418. Michael DeFeo finds himself back on the top 6, back in the top 6 threshold with a 29.454. And this race right here, I will say, as Janiyah Hill goes up to the top with a 29.298. How about that though for Janiyah Hill, coming back, making a huge comeback right there. A 29.298. But the thing that I was going to bring up was, obviously, I mean, it's amazing that we've gotten to this juncture of the season. You know, obviously 4 races left. It would still be 4 races to go until we crown a champion, but obviously we still have 6 races overall left, 4 points paying races to go after today. But the action that we've been seeing, whether some races ran caution free or not, we've had some, I'd say we'd have some pretty spectacular action. I mean, we've had a lot of different winners. Of course, a couple of multiple multi-time winners this year. But we come here to a place like Atlanta, well, at least this configuration of Atlanta, where there's a lot of mystery of what we're about to witness. I mean, obviously, we've seen from past maybe past NR races on this configuration of Atlanta, where we've seen a lot of double file, 3 wide, even 4 wide, and a few wrecks here and there. So we could see something similar to that. But it's all a mystery as to how it's all going to unfold, and you're not going to want to miss it tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. So we're just past almost to the halfway mark of this go or go homer session, this knockout qualifying session. Your top 6 currently looks like this. Janiyah Hill currently top of the board still with a 29.298, a 320 for Jordan Sumner. She's second right now with Joshua Cornish third with a 328. A 405 for Ray Atikian in the 45. Then Ajax Fitzgerald with a 29.421. And on the outside looking in, well, on the bubble spot actually, outside looking in is Ryan Gondillo here, who's in this pack. But on the bubble spot, that would be the number 60 of Michael DeFeo. Fitzgerald and Atikian trading spots there within the top 6. So Fitzgerald goes up to the 4th spot and Atikian falls back to 5th. A little bit faster by 6/1000ths of a second for the number 92 of Ajax Fitzgerald, as he's just going to barely catch the draft off of Janiyah Hill's car. Coming up on 6.5 minutes to go here in this qualifying session. And Fitzgerald actually jumps up to second on the board with a 29.319. See, Fitzgerald is he tied this time around. Tied with Janiyah Hill, but however, Hill just a few millionths of a second quicker still. So that top position gets to live to fight another day. But that's the impressive thing here for Ajax Fitzgerald, is that he's been able to use the draft to his advantage and just barely catch a whiff of it off of Janiyah's car, and was able to just slowly, very, very, very slowly, of course, pull up to this pack. And now this has become a 4-horse pack. So far, a very impressive job from Ajax Fitzgerald to at least maintain where he's at, or at least maintain top 6. And here's Jordan Sumner all by herself, but still third on the board with a 320 to her name. Sumner's been able to turn it around, at least for the most part, when it comes down to making these races. And of course, I mean, making these races and having the speed to get in them. Now the question is she able to translate that into a win? Unfortunately, she hasn't been quite able to do that in the last few races that she has been in recently. But As far as for Fitzgerald, as far as for Jordan Sumner goes, I mean, it's very capable that she could do it. We saw Sebastian Vaughn, her teammate, probably come pretty close to winning at Minnesota last week. I mean, he was in contention a couple of times throughout the course of that race, but we come here to Atlanta, where the chances just go ever so higher, and the same can be said for the 20 of Jordan Sumner. Here's Cornish in the 89, currently still holding on to fourth with a 328, and there's Kyler Sustry in the 16. Oh, it jumped. Wait a minute. Sustry actually jumped up inside of the top 6 right there with a 29.424. That's quicker than Michael DeFeo's 29.424. So now DeFeo is on the outside looking in. Oh my goodness. I do actually have to go use the restroom real quick. So I will be right back. In the meantime, we're going to be keeping an eye on what the action is going on over here between Fitzgerald and Gundillo. I'll be right back, guys. Hold the phone for just 1 minute. Bobby McGuire at the top of the board with a 29.134. And Janiah Hill second with a 29.278 now. And Cornish right now sitting on the bubble position. Martin Nixon on the outside looking in. That is a very amazing thing to come back to. If you are fans of McGuire Motorsports, they're going full time next year. We couldn't be any more excited for them. I believe another 30 seconds have been added, so that way these drivers can put down one final lap time. Make one last ditch effort to get into the show. But I just don't think it's going to be enough. Your top 6 officially. I know I'm prematurely saying this, but top 6 now, it's official. Bobby Maguire and Janiah Hill, 1-2 on the charts. They will race in tonight's Quaker-State 400 alongside Ajax Fitzgerald, Ray Atikian, Jordan Sumner, and Joshua Cornish, holding on to that final transfer spot. You know, last week, Cornish won the pole via, I do believe he won the pole for this race. And unfortunately got taken out on that lap 50 crash within the first quarter of the event. But here he is the next week, and he gets a shot of redemption by just barely making it in by 6/100ths of a second over Martin Nixon, who's going to miss it along with Ryan Gondillo, Josiah Munsell, Kyler Sustry, Michael DeFeo, Chase McClure, Travis Crampton, and Nikki Fox. All of those drivers, they will have to sit this one out all the way up until October 4th when we go to Watkins Glen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is in another 2 weeks' time. But when we come back, it'll be knockout qualifying for the Quaker-State 400 as the 42 car field is set. But where will they start? Qualifying is up next.
If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This time it is for qualifying for the Quaker-State 400. We're going to have ourselves 3 rounds since we're on a 1.5 mile racetrack, the 1.5 mile super speedway configuration, if you will. I do believe I might have accidentally, yeah, there we go. That's what I was missing. But these drivers are getting ready to go here for round 1 of WRLA Pepsi Cup Series qualifying. Somebody has yet to make a move to get out onto the racetrack, as we do have a good amount of cars. And the first one that is going to be making that move is the 97 of Nathan Stapleton. Clifton following on the, who just came out as he faded away on the left-hand side of your screen. But the 97, Nathan Stapleton, he's one of those drivers that has just had a very abysmal season all year long. He's had a few moments under the spotlight our two-time winner in the Pepsi Cup Series. He won at Martinsville in 2017 and won in a very thrilling last lap pass on Samet Ozgen in 2020. But 2023 and this season have just not been Stapleton's best friend whatsoever, especially this year. This reminds me a lot of the NRLA McDonald's Cup Series momentum that he had last year, where he didn't fare as as much as a lot of us would have hoped for. The same case for this year here in the Pepsi Cup Series. But 2026 is looming in the horizon. NS Racing will be returning next year, and hopefully next year they'll have a little bit more momentum on their side. Hopefully they will have that confidence booster to say, hey, we didn't have ourselves the greatest season, the best of seasons last year, so let's take this year and try to make it and try to capitalize on all of what we would have and should have had when it comes down to race wins and top fives and top tens. I mean, obviously Zachary Fitzwater has done a very fine job this year. He led the points for a good little while, still hanging on inside of the top 10 in the points standings, but we all know what NS Racing is after. It's something that they haven't had all year with any of their cars, and that is a race win. So maybe they could get that tonight, whether it be with Stapleton, Fitzwater, Andrew Miller, or even Noah Clifton here in this 99 machine. Clifton is also a two-time winner here in the Pepsi Cup Series. Won at Rockingham in 2020 when he drove for Swiss Auto Motorsports for Chloe Bumgarner's team. And then also won in 2023 when he moved over to NS Racing and won on the dirt at Bristol. Wyatt Walker, top of the charts with a 29.899. Here's another driver that is wanting to turn his season around. He got a very strong start to the year. Unfortunately, as the year progressed, he dropped further and further and further down in the point standings. Coming into this race, if we take a look and see exactly where Wyatt stacks up for this weekend, as Zachary Taylor is on top of the board with a 29.774. Right now, actually, I'm looking at the wrong place. Right now, for Wyatt, he currently stacks 28th in the point standings with 231 points to his name. Wyatt at this point is just looking for a win. At this rate, he knows he's eliminated from championship contention. All he's looking for this year is just a win. Speaking of Walker Family Motorsports cars, Abby, whoa, what in the world just happened over here? Joshua Cornish out of shape. He came back up in front of the nose of Rogel Dorn, and all that momentum that Dorn had with this pack has just been killed off. What in the world just happened to Joshua Cornish? He just absolutely came flying off the apron and right back onto the racing surface. I honestly do not know what happened there. I mean, honestly, that's just absolutely wild stuff to be seeing here during qualifying at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are halfway through round number 1. Remember, it's the top 24 that move on to round number 2. So far, the driver holding on to that transfer spot is Zachary Fitzwater with a 29.874. And Wyatt Walker, he is 1/1000th of a second back from the 98. McGuire holding on to 23rd at the moment, so he would be able to transfer on to round 2 with his 29.851. If if all goes according to plan, I mean, who knows? We might be able to see it. Here's Andrew Miller in the 96. Another driver who has been relatively quiet this year. Currently stacks up 30. Actually, no, not anymore. He stacks up 23rd with a 29.846. That's going to knock Bobby McGuire out of the top 24. And Zachary Fitzwater once again on the bubble spot. Russell Blaze currently still top of the board with a 29.556. Our winner from Nashville Super Speedway earlier this year in the summer. He has been absolutely wanting that points lead, but after that finish, after Minnesota, unfortunately things didn't quite go his way, and he ended up falling out of the second place spot in the points standings, and that left our eventual race winner Kyle Craven to jump up and take the second position away from Russell Blaze in the points. So now the points gap between Terry Walker, who managed to escape with the points lead just barely by the skin of his teeth, and new runner-up Kyle Craven, the points gap is still as close as can be. 2 points separate first and second in the points standings. There's our Minnesota race winner, Kyle Craven, who has been performing very consistently all year this year. He's been doing an absolutely fantastic job this season. Winner from Minnesota, of course. But now coming into this race, runner-up in the points standings, that points lead is right there. It is literally just within finger. You could literally just touch the points lead with just the tips of your fingers. That's how close Kyle Craven is to Terry Walker in the standings. And I'm willing to bet you that does make Terry Walker just a little bit more nervous that points gap is still being chewed away week after week after week. Where is Terry, speaking of? There he is. Driver who has yet to score a win this year, along with a few other drivers, of course, as well. Well, I mean, Campbell Marsh was also in running for his first Pepsi Cup Series win. Unfortunately, unfortunately didn't get it. But still a great showing for American Motorsports. That's their first win since Al Lagasse at Charlotte in the Coca-Cola 600 in 2020. So great showing for them. I mean, for their first win since that point. Al Lagasse's second on the board, speaking of American Motorsports cars, with a 29.564. As Noah Clifton is going to bail out and looks like he might call it a session. He's fourth fastest right now, so he is very well on his way to advancing into round number 2. Eric Monaco actually holds on to the final transfer spot to get into the second round. More time has been added for these drivers to put down one final lap. And CG Halt currently outside looking in by 8/1000ths of a second. But it does appear that things are going to look as official as can be right about now. So your top 24, of course, Blaze moves on along with Alexander Rowe, Abby Walker, Noah Clifton, Roberto Crown Jr., Nathan Stapleton's going to move on to the second round. You also have Sebastian Vaughn, Alex Bonsignor, CG Hall coming out of nowhere with a 29.663. He moves on, along with Tanner Parton, Terry Walker, Ray Atikian, Reagan Whitlock, Ajax Fitzgerald, Wayne Lopez. As we're going to take a look at the rest of where everybody stacked up after round one and who's advancing on. Ajax Fitzgerald, Wayne Lopez, Cologne, Hill, Craven, Ramsey, Sumner, Marsh, Little, Taylor, and Diacomo holds on by 6/1000ths of a second to make it on to the second round. 25th on down, well, that's exactly where everybody will be starting for tonight's Quaker-State 400 from here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. When we come back, it'll be round number 2 of Pepsi Cup Series qualifying from Atlanta.
If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. This time it is round number 2 of WRLA Pepsi Cup Series qualifying from here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Reagan Whitlock wasting no time getting out onto the racetrack as she knows exactly what is at stake. And that's to make it on to round number 3, the top 12 that would be fighting it out for the pole position. But she's going out here all by herself to kick things off. So far, I was going to say so far the only car currently out on the racetrack, but not the case as Abby Walker comes out. But she's also all by her lonesome. There's Kyle Craven, Nathan Stapleton, both of these drivers, they're coming out. currently nose to tail. And here comes more Fords that are coming out. Zachary Taylor. There's also the 69 of Russell Blaze, Alexander Rowe in the number 34 machine. A 31,383 to kick off round number 2 here for Reagan Whitlock in this number 9 machine. Whitlock, a veteran to the series. She's been around since 2017, also owned her own team. Sponsorship, I remember it very well. It was the Angry Birds Star Wars machine, the number 33 for Reagan Whitlock Racing. Now comes back after a 6-year absence from WRLA competition, if you will. Comes back, signs on with Cologne Motorsports, and she's been actually doing pretty good for herself. Coming into this race, I mean, I'd say her performance this year has been pretty solid. She comes in to this event right here, 15th in the points standings. Not too shabby there for Reagan Whitlock, especially in her first full season back in WRLA Pepsi Cup Series competition. And I say that officially because we only ran 8 races in 2023 before, you know, I got burnt out from recording races and then just closing the doors. But live streaming the races, and that does absolute wonders, I'll tell you that. Zachary Taylor, top of the board with a 29,894. 12 1,000s, actually 1/10, a full 10th faster, actually. Hold up. Another driver, another full 10th faster. That's Kyle Craven with a 29,776. And then you also have Nathan Stapleton up here, 4th on the board with a 29,922. He's 4th on the board. Abby Walker with a 917, and now Zachary Taylor gets kicked back with a 894. That held the top of the speed charts for, a brief moment. Noah Clifton now top of the board, up to second actually with a 29,863 with a little bit of drafting. Well, drafting a little bit with this number 18 of Abby Walker. While up here, they're going to catch Bruno Giacomo in this number 95. And just a little bit further up ahead, that was Stephen Colon in the 25. 2-time winner this year, won at Rockingham in February, and then over the summer, he won at Sonoma. But right now, Cologne kicking this, well, I mean, obviously with this round, not faring too well, riding all by his lonesome. 21st on the charts with a 30, actually. Hold up, he actually improved his time. Maybe, yeah, he improved his time by 1 spot. Now up to 20th with a 30.223. And your top 12 now with less than 5 minutes to go. Noah Clifton, top of the board with a 29,651. Abby Walker jumps up to second with a 744. Then Kyle Craven is third. Wayne Lopez now coming into the frame with a 29,799. He's fourth. Alex Bonsignor completes the top 5, followed by Campbell Marsh in 6th. Then in 7th is Zachary Taylor. Andrew Ramsey in 8th. Nathan Stapleton 9th. And Terry Walker, our points leader, completes her top 10. Then it's Reagan Whitlock and Roberto Crown Jr. who holds onto the final transfer spot with a 29,960. And Ryan Little on the outside looking in by just about a full 10th. Now it's Reagan Whitlock on the outside looking in. Crown jumps up to second with a 29,690. How about that? So Crown saving himself from potential elimination from the third and final round tonight. the third and final round today, I should say, is it's still daytime. Marsh almost thinking about taking it 3 wide, but thinking twice on that one. There's Bruno Diacomo, number 95. They're going to pick him up in this group, so I'd say watch for Bruno Diacomo to potentially come out of the woodworks and see if he could maybe get himself inside of the top 12. He's currently, if I'm looking at this correctly, if I can actually find him. '23rd. I can't believe I missed that 3 different times. 23rd actually with a 30.342. He's in a pack right now, so I would watch for that time to change as we're going to start spectating Bruno Diacomo as they come off of turn number 4. Great draft, great run here for the 95. Improves his time. He jumps up to 7th with a 29.873. That puts Terry Walker on the bubble spot. And CG Halt currently on the outside looking in to make it to the final round right here. And look who is nose to tail from one another. The points leader and one of the guys that is hungry for that points lead. Got a little bit hurt after Minnesota, and I only say hurt from a points perspective because he didn't fall. He's not too far away still. I mean, obviously Russell Blaze still has a chance. I mean, it's only 13 points that Blaze and Walker are separated by, but Kyle Craven is the real threat that Terry Walker has to worry about because that's a 2-point gap that he has over the 28 machine. So if I were Terry Walker, I mean, yes, obviously you want to keep Russell Blaze in the back of your mind, but you also got Kyle Craven, who is staring a mud hole into that points gap. So I would be quite careful of that. Noah Clifton actually still top of the board. Still with a 651. Nobody's been able to dethrone that. This pack right here has gotten just a little bit dicey. Now that they've also picked up Sebastian Vaughn here in this number 54. Vaughn currently is 21st with a 30.149. I would watch for that to change as these drivers come off of turn number 4 and head back to the start-finish line, 3 abreast, almost making contact with one another. 16th for the 54 of Sebastian Vaughn. So a little bit of an improvement, but not enough to get him in the show. He needs a better push. He needs a better draft. He's got Kyle Craven in front of him, currently holding on to that outside line. So we might just be able to see it right here. Coming around to the stripe. And unfortunately, he did not improve his position. He fell down 1. 30 seconds of an added. One last ditch effort for Sebastian Vaughn. See if he can actually make it onto the final round. He might not be able to right here. Coming across the line. Oh, he just, that's painful. Oh, that's so painful. Jumps up to 13th. He ties with Terry Walker, but it's not going to be enough to make it to round 3. Your top 12 that will fight for the pole: Noah Clifton, Roberto Crown Jr., Abby Walker, Kyle Craven, Campbell Marsh, Bruno Diacomo, Wayne Lopez, Nathan Stapleton, Andrew Ramsey, Alex Bonsignor, Zachary Taylor, and Terry Walker. Those drivers will be fighting it out for the pole position And from 13th on down, that's where they're starting for tonight's Quaker-State 400. And boy, the action is not done just yet. We have one round to go here in WRLA Pepsi Cup Series qualifying here at Atlanta. Who will start on the pole for race 17 of the season? Find out next.
If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back now for the final round of Pepsi Cup Series qualifying. We now know the 12 drivers that will be going for the pole. 10 minutes on the clock, and Alex Bonsignor knows what's at stake. He's wasting no time whatsoever. He's the first one to come out onto the racetrack. Bonsignor has just not had himself a good year whatsoever. He's on the same boat as Nathan Stapleton. Has yet to score a win this year. He's come close a couple of times in the recent parts of the season. Right now, he currently, coming into this race in particular, he finds himself 33rd in the point standings with 202 points to his name. But Bonsignor, of course, from a performance perspective, he's been able to turn his season around. Unfortunately for points, well, that's a little bit of a different story. That's a little bit harder to climb out of that hole, if you will. But then again, Alex Bonsignor, he knows what it takes to go out and win races like this, especially as stakes as high as they are right now at this juncture of the year. Of course, A-Bonds Racing and Alex Bonsignor will be returning in 2026. Powerhouse Crown Racing, another team that actually I believe is also coming back next year, with Roberto Crown Jr. himself actually second on the board, now third as he gets kicked back. Bonsignor moves up back to the top with a 34.05. We've yet to see a few cars get together in the draft. I mean, there's still time. There's still time for that to happen. Both of our Indiana guys, Zachary Taylor, Nathan Stapleton, making their way out on the racetrack for the third and final round of qualifying. Pretty awesome to see Stapleton up here. Pretty awesome to see him that he's made it to this point in qualifying. Craven trying to start right where he left off at Minnesota last week. A 29.690 for the 28 machine of Kyle Craven. He's got Campbell Marsh just ahead of him. This very same teammate that he fought for the win last week. And now we've got two cars that are actually together. Crown and Diacomo. They have hooked up, and now we might see some pretty quick times from these two in particular. And so have Clifton and Zachary Taylor. So now we might see these two get a really good lap time, but they're also trading positions as Taylor works his way to the inside of Noah Clifton. He's probably seeing if Clifton can be the pusher. But Taylor now goes to the top of a 29.353. How about Stapleton with a 29.311? Coming out of nowhere, drafting with Wayne Lopez, who jumps up to fourth with a 417 to his name. How about that? See what the times are going to look like this time around. No improvements for Wayne Lopez and obviously Stapleton. Well, not anymore. The teammates have found each other. They're working together. And Kyle Craven with a 29.262 to his name. Campbell Marsh right around the outside, of course. Side drafting off of one another, and Bruno Diacomo with a 29.230, drafting with the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr. You also have Terry Walker just up ahead, riding all by himself, coming up to 5 minutes to go here in this qualifying session from here in Atlanta. Ooh, just a little bit dicey there. No improvements between any of the three tandems that we've got going on. But never say never. Anything could change here within these next 4.5 minutes. I mean, we could see Kyle Craven go back up to the top of the charts. We could see Campbell Marsh come out of the woodworks and from the 9th position. And who knows, we might see him start on the pole here for tonight's race. It's all very, very possible here in Atlanta. Coming up to 4 minutes to go here in this qualifying session. No changes currently as of right now. Is still Bruno Diacomo at the top of the charts with his 29, now 131. He just improved that time. Kyle Craven still sits second. Then it's Roberto Crown Jr. in third, our Michigan winner. Nathan Stapleton in fourth. Noah Clifton, who's now riding all by his lonesome. We saw Zachary Taylor on pit road just a little bit ago. He's currently fifth. Taylor himself, actually speaking of, is sixth. As Crown actually jumps up to third. Actually, yeah, he did jump up to third. But Wayne Lopez now seventh. Andrew Ramsey eighth. Campbell Marsh in ninth. And Terry Walker rounds out your top 10. They are picking up Terry Walker here in this number 48. So they'll catch up to him very, very shortly. they might catch up to Bonsignor here in a little bit as well. So we'll just have to wait and see exactly what happens. Coming up on 2.5 minutes to go. They have caught Terry. They managed to catch Terry Walker, but now we'll have to wait and see exactly what the end result is going to be. Is Terry going to be able to put down a quick enough time to maybe start on the pole, maybe front row? I mean, regardless if it's pole or not. They're also closing in on Alex Bonsignor. Closing in on 2 minutes remaining as well. Kyle Craven, actually Crown jumps back up to second. Now with a 29.208, so he's improved his lap time. And Terry Walker's also jumped up to the 4th position, a 29.264. They've all caught Alex Bonsignor as well. As Crown trying to do away with Terry Walker. Giacomo makes his way down to pit road. He might be calling it a session right there. Bonsignor now jumps up to 10th with a 488. That bumps Campbell Marsh outside of the top 10. That doesn't really matter here because if from second on down, that's where you'll be starting. But as for Bruno Giacomo, he would be starting on the pole position. If he's able to hang on to that for at least one final minute. It's very well possible that it could happen. I believe Ramsey just jumped up to 7th with a 344. Now let's see what the times are going to look like coming across the line this time around. No changes with this group over here. But they might have a little bit of momentum built up, if you will. As they head down the back straightaway into the 3rd corner. And we might have ourselves 30 seconds to add, so that way these drivers can have one final lap. So that way they can put down one more good lap. Obviously, these drivers are not going to, they just barely may make it across the line, but if you're somebody like even Campbell Marsh, I mean, I think Marsh has already made it across the line, so unfortunately he's not going to be able to make it count. But I don't think it's going to matter at this point because it is going to be official. Your front row will consist of Bruno Giacomo starting on the pole and Roberto Crown Jr. lining up alongside. They're going to lead the field of the green flag. Terry Walker, Kyle Craven, 1 and 2 in the point standings. They're going to be starting 3rd and 4th right next to each other. Nathan Stapleton and Noah Clifton, NS Racing teammates, will make up the 3rd row. Andrew Ramsey, Zachary Taylor, row 4, and completing your top 10 in row number 5, that would be Wayne Lopez and Alex Bonsignor and Wayne Lopez. Campbell Marsh and Abby Walker, they will make up the rest of your top 6. But how about that for qualifying from here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway? Big congratulations to Bruno Giacomo for winning the pole here at Atlanta. And I do believe that would be his first career pole in WRLA Pepsi Cup Series competition. Giacomo's been doing a fantastic job of turning his season around, and I'd say that's definitely pretty big news right there, to say the least. But how will the race unfold? Well, you're going to have to tune in 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time over on Twitch to find out. 163 laps of action, good ways to go, but a lot can happen within those 163 laps, and that's going to be, this might be the race that you don't want to miss. just like of how Minnesota was a must-see race, Atlanta could very well be a must-see race. But we want to thank you guys a lot for watching qualifying from here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. If you guys like this, be sure to hit the like button. And if you haven't considered subscribing yet, I recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. So we'll be back tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for race number 17 of the Pepsi Cup Series, the Quaker-State 400. One more time, congratulations to Bruno Diacomo on winning the pole. Have yourselves a fantastic Friday, everybody. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch for race 17 of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series from here in Atlanta. Have a good one, y'all.